Welcome back to another episode of the Psychopedia podcast. I'm your co-host, Hank Sinatra, here with my new and somehow improved co-host.
Investigators later.
Where were the improvements even able to be made?
I don't know. I don't know what improvements you're referring to.
Marginal at best.
Sick.
Well, new year, new me.
That's right.
You know?
That's right.
It is 2025 officially now. I know you're going to hear this and, whenever you hear it, I want to say Happy New Year. And if it's January 25th, too bad.
Still Happy New Year.
Still Happy New Year. How about this? Happy New Year every second of every day.
That's right. You can always extend good wishes. I know we've had this conversation before, and you typically don't like saying Happy New Year, 5 days past? Is that your cutoff point?
I'm also a changed man.
Oh, my God. Tank 2.0.
Tank 2.0. I have found a way to reduce my annoyance for that, and that is by saying it first.
Excellent.
And really meaning it.
Yes. Intention.
Yes. Really meaning it. Happy New Year to you if you're listening.
Yes.
And don't be like me. Don't be like me in the worst ways.
Curmudgeon.
Yeah. I'm shedding my curmudgeonness.
Nice.
Shedding it. My goodness. Can I tell you about New Year's Eve?
Please.
Bro. Okay. We went to Times Square.
Yeah, that was fucking batshit.
I saw you trying to stop yourself from cursing, and I thought that was really interesting.
Well, you said New Year, new me, and I was like, maybe I should try.
Instead, it just came out harder.
It didn't work.
Fucking crazy. So, as a New Yorker, we don't do that.
No, we don't.
We do not do that as New Yorkers. We do not go to Times Square for New Year's Eve. And if you're thinking about skipping this, do not skip this story.
Okay.
So, long story short, my agent represents another guy, Jonathan Bennett. My agent, Kaylee, shout out to her for getting us these tickets because, it turned out to be I'm making the statement right now, up to this point in my life, the best moment of my life.
What?
And that is considering all things.
Wow.
Okay, so here's how it went. So we initially got tickets, as you know, and we were going to go without the kids. And then last minute, I was like, after talking to you, I was like, she's right. I don't want to be without my kids on New Year's Eve. So we asked her, they got them tickets, a little back and forth, whatever. Is it appropriate? Can they be there at the Hard Rock Cafe? That's where the party was. Ultimately, yes, and good, because we were not going to go if they couldn't come. I don't think I would have been able to do it. So anyway, we drive in there on December 30th to get in the day before. Going the day of was not an option. Walking from the car to the hotel, nightmare. Luggage and kids. I almost killed somebody on the streets of New York City because they bumped into my younger son and just kept walking. And no.
Okay.
But cooler heads prevailed. So New Year's Eve night, right? So getting to that point, we went out to dinner. Brooklyn Chop House. Not in Brooklyn. It's what we do in New York. I don't know what else to say.
It's true.
Brooklyn Chop House in New York. The best playlist of any restaurant I've ever been to ever.
Wow.
It was...
Dude, this is a night of superlatives for you.
It was rap from 98 to 2003. There was a song called Blackout, which is from DMX's album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood, his second album. Track 18 on it. Have never heard that song out in public ever before in my entire life.
Heard it at the Brooklyn Chop House.
Thrilled. The vibe was set. So we go back to the hotel after we eat. They got me stage passes, which was incredible because he said that never happened. So I got to go up on the stage, watch the Jonas Brothers do their...
we watched them for like a second.
Yeah, we were there. They were doing like the rehearsal. So whatever. I saw them. Very cool. And then, so Hard Rock Cafe, my younger son put on a clinic on the dance floor.
Oh, was that the best moment of your life?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I could understand why that would be.
It led into it, though.
All right.
So he was dancing in a circle for a long time. People were cheering and filming and dancing with him.
His little sports jacket.
He had a suit on. With a vest, by the way, a three-piece suit. He was the star of the show. Yeah. And I felt so proud. I'm like, passing the torch.
Yep.
Passing the torch. This guy's, it's in DNA, I guess. So there's no seats. It's kind of a nightmare otherwise. No seats, a lot of people. And at about 11:30, we go up and sit on steps by the front door. There's like this side, whatever. I don't even know how to describe it, but we had nowhere to sit for 3 hours. So we sat there for a little bit. So we're sitting there. We set up, perfect spot. And 1 minute strikes, right? And then this booming clock starts ticking, like an interstellar on the water planet. Loud.
Yeah.
And it's exciting. And it's like the fireworks are going off every 5 seconds off of where the ball is. At 30 seconds, in addition to the clock ticking, you start hearing boom, boom, boom every second. I was like, oh my God. At about 20 seconds to midnight, the confetti begins, which I totally forgot about.
Yeah.
I was not expecting it. It was like just as much of a surprise to me as it was as if I had never seen it before.
Right.
So I'm filming for my son because I told him, you're not taking your phone out until after the ball drops. I'll get it. So I'm watching, but I'm also filming, whatever. And after the ball drops, everyone, scream. It was magical to be there. I looked over at my older son, who at this point had his phone out. Oh my God.
You're tearing up.
It was the most joy I've ever seen on anybody's face ever for any reason. It was the happiest I've ever seen a human being in my entire life. Immediately started crying.
You did?
Yes, for multiple reasons. One, I was just so glad to be able to witness that as a person. I was glad it was him. But I also was like reflecting on how I got there. Like, I can't believe that I was able to give my son this gift because of all the work that I've put in and all the opportunities that I've gotten and all the relationships I've maintained, all the people I've been good to and helped over the years. And in turn, they return the favor. It was just like, I was crying.
I believe it.
I was like...
I believe it. That's so nice.
I was like...
Ugly crying?
Legitimately for like a second. Then I was like, I can't. This is like too much.
That's really nice.
But then I looked over at 2 other people and they were crying. So then I started talking to them. I was like, I thought it was just me.
No, it's emotional. Listen, I wasn't at Times Square, but I also cried.
You did?
Yeah. We were all together. It was not the New Year's we planned. We were all sick, as you know. I don't want to take the rest of your story, though. I want to hear the rest of your story.
No, that's it. That was just seeing his face.
Beautiful.
That was the best moment of my life so far.
That's what it's about. 100%.
Yes.
I love that. I love that for you.
Well, when you say it like that.
I'm sorry. I hate when people say that.
Yeah.
But I actually do love that for everyone. My New Year's was different than planned. We were supposed to go to a New Year's party, but we all got sick. So we stayed in, and it ended up being one of the best New Year's ever.
Yeah.
I have a beautiful picture. Cassie's upside down on his back. My older one's sleeping with his feet on top of the dog. Dave's head is on Cassie's belly. He and I are holding hands. My little one's partying, running around the house with noisemakers, whatever. We watched Twilight Zone up until midnight, which is a dream for me. And I also had where I was crying, I was looking around. I was like, how is this my life?
Yeah.
It was incredible. So totally different New Year's, but the same emotion felt, I feel like.
Same vibe.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Long ado today.
I know. I didn't mean to ado that much this episode, but we had to.
We had ado.
Okay? If you're not subscribed to us yet on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever, just do that. We like the numbers going up. I like to see the numbers go up. It's human nature.
Yes.
It feels good to see you guys committing to us and joining our little family of psychos. And that's it. If you're on YouTube, do your part, leave a heart. If you love us and you're not getting enough of what you need here, head on over to patreon.com/psychopediapod where you get, I feel like it's more content than any one person could go through at this point. Like it would take you a long time. So if you want more of this, head on over to there. And even if you don't sign up for the Little Siemens, what?
You're not far off.
Even if you don't sign up for the Little Freaks or Semen Demons level, which is where the content is, if you sign up as a free member, you will become part of our email list and you'll start getting emails about tour dates soon first before anybody else. So that's just more reason to go over there. But before we get started, I just want to read some Patreon names to give these people their proper shine, if you don't mind. Okay?
Never mind.
Okay. What? Want me to forget it?
Oh, no, I never mind. Sorry.
Laura McFarlane, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Amber Proctor.
Nice name.
I know, it's a great name.
I like it.
Genevieve Canada.
What's up, Jen?
Tony Mexico. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, I was like, what's happening here? Okay.
Allison France. Just kidding. Seances with Slater.
Yes, please, anytime.
That's a real one. Fucked to death by an ambulance.
Okay.
Yeah. That's an old reference from our episode with Mark Norman, fucked to death by a horse. Rootin' tootin' shootins.
Love it.
But shootins is spelled like school, so I'm assuming these people are European.
Okay.
Or German or something, SCH. Unwind your naughty bits. And unclench your utterly unhinged undercarriage.
That's a good one.
Relax your genitals is our motto over here. So these are just, iterations of that sentiment with using different words. And I, for one, personally am all about that.
I love it.
If you can find different ways to say relax your genitals, please send them on over to us. So without any further ado, I really would like to hear about this week's case because I do know what it's about.
Yes.
I am pumped to learn more about it.
Okay, here we go. You know you have a controversial perpetrator when the inmates at the harsh Manhattan Detention Center in Brooklyn are chanting for the freedom and release of their newest high-profile resident.
Oh my God.
MDC currently houses P. Diddy and has previously been home to figures like cult leader Keith Raniere, Jeffrey Epstein, and his associate Ghislaine Maxwell.
Really?
Former CEO of the now bankrupt FTX cryptocurrency exchange, Sam Bankman-Fried.
What a crook, by the way.
R. Kelly. And what a perv.
Wow.
Yep. Yet, as you walk past those cold brick walls, the chants you hear aren't for any of those people. Instead, they pulse with the following battle cry: Free Luigi. The controversy surrounding the crime we are examining today cannot be overstated, nor can the uproar and divisiveness it has caused across America.
Yeah.
This case has struck a raw nerve in the national psyche with respect to the ongoing and infuriating healthcare crisis. 26-year-old Luigi Mangione, who has been detained over his recent alleged murderous actions that allegedly stemmed out of desperation in a flawed healthcare system, embodies the struggle that so many Americans face.
Yeah.
The public's response, therefore, has been a mix of both condemnation and approval, and has fueled debates on policy floors and in living rooms alike, suggesting, perhaps, that the incident could be a tipping point for legislative and social change.
God, I hope so.
Same. Luigi has essentially become the face of an entire movement, a focal point in the push for a healthcare system that prioritizes human well-being over profit. It's incredible to see how a cold-blooded murderer, in many, if not most circles, isn't actually being blamed for gunning a man down in broad daylight. This speaks volumes about the broader issue under the microscope now, as well as the complexities and contradictions within societal and legal perceptions of justice. This is the case of Luigi Mangione, martyr or miscreant, hero or anti-hero.
Wow. Controversial is an understatement on this. And I understand why.
Same.
I really do.
I think the issues that it's brought to light are completely warranted to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And the discussions that are happening now should be happening. Okay, let's get into it. Luigi Nicholas Mangione was born on May 6, 1998 in Towson, Maryland to his parents, Kathleen and Louis. Luigi has two sisters, Maria Santa and Luciana. The Mangiones are a well-known local family with deep Italian roots who have been celebrated for their extensive philanthropic efforts. His paternal grandfather, Nicholas Mangione, born in 1925, hailed from the humble beginnings of Sicily's impoverished immigrants in Baltimore's Little Italy. Nicholas, who passed away in 2008, was a prolific figure and fathered 10 children, 5 sons and 5 daughters, leaving behind a legacy of 37 grandchildren.
Wow.
Among these grandchildren is Nino Mangione, who currently serves in the Maryland House of Delegates. Following Nicholas Mangione's passing, his children assumed leadership of his various business ventures. The family-owned conglomerate includes notable holdings such as Hayfields Country Club, Turf Valley Resort, Lorien Health Services, which is a nursing home company, and WCBM radio station. Luigi's father, Louis, oversees Mangione Family Enterprises, as well as the Mangione Family Foundation, which contributes to various charitable causes.
So Luigi grew up rich.
Yeah, you could say that. Very well off.
That changes things in my mind immediately.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but hold on to that.
Of course, yeah.
Primed to continue the family's legacy of success and social responsibility, Luigi, handsome, intelligent, educated, charismatic, seemed ready to carry the torch. And this is something that anyone looking would likely have agreed to.
Yeah.
Because on social media, Luigi curated an image of well-to-do, carefree living, posing in beach photos, showing off his toned physique, and partying with his matching blue blazer wearing frat brothers. To those who followed his online life, Luigi was the picture of success and embodied the ideals of a modern tech enthusiast with a privileged upbringing. And his real-life achievements seemed to mirror his polished social media persona. Throughout his entire life, Luigi excelled in academics and athletics, including wrestling, and graduated as valedictorian of the prestigious Gilman School in Baltimore in the year 2016.
Wow.
In his graduation speech, Luigi praised his classmates for their ability to challenge the world and think outside the box, and recognized the financial commitment his parents made by sending him to Gilman, with the annual tuition reaching nearly $38,000. Throughout his upbringing, Luigi was largely known for his social nature, friendly disposition, and very high intelligence. Interestingly, he wasn't particularly political or outspoken about social issues.
Mm-hmm.
Luigi went on to work as a head counselor at a pre-college program at Stanford University before moving on to UPenn, where he received a Master of Science in Engineering with a major in Computer and Information Science and a Bachelor of Science in Engineering, majoring in Computer Science with a minor in Mathematics.
So he's pretty smart and capable, and
Smart,
UPenn is an Ivy
educated.
League school, right?
Yep, privileged.
But working hard at it.
Yeah. I think it came naturally to him in a sense that he was very intelligent. But yeah, you have to work hard to achieve these things.
Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Engineering from UPenn. Yeah, they're not messing around with.
And to become valedictorian at your, prestigious high school. Exactly. Yeah. He was raised to believe in the power of technology to reshape the world. And his early fascination with computer games led him to teach himself coding in high school. In fact, before even entering college, Luigi had already created a mobile app where users guided a paper airplane through obstacles. He also made money as a student at UPenn doing which of the following things? Pop quiz.
Ready.
A, selling Christmas lights to students to decorate their residences around campus. B, working in the billing department at the campus health center. C, providing customized study guides tailored specifically for computer science and mathematics majors.
C?
Nope.
A?
Yep.
Christmas lights.
Yep.
Entrepreneurial as well.
Exactly right. Luigi had all the credentials and connections to rise to the top of the business world, and many believed he was destined to become a wildly successful entrepreneur or even the CEO of one of his family's thriving businesses.
Oh, so this guy was almost a CEO himself.
Mm-hmm. But instead, he chose a much darker path. Because in an astonishing twist, the intelligent, well-bred, wealthy, handsome, and I keep saying handsome because that's all you're seeing all over the media.
Yeah.
Luigi Mangione was revealed to be the masked gunman who coldly shot and killed Brian Thompson, the 50-year-old CEO of UnitedHealthcare, on December 4th, 2024.
Right off the bat, after hearing this initial bit of information, so I've heard theories floated around that it's not him that did it, Luigi Mangione.
Which, by the way, excuse me for cutting you off.
Yeah.
We do still have to technically say allegedly when we're talking about this crime. So
Sure.
I'm going to pepper that in. It made me think of that.
The face doesn't match up. The eyes, the eyebrows are different. So, what are the chances that this kid, who's the most unlikely person to do something like this, was plucked out of thin air?
You mean he's the fall guy?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. But there's a trail. There's a trail that led up to that moment, which of course we're going to explore.
Yes, we're going to walk down it.
Yes, we are. At around 6:40 a.m., as Brian walked to his company's shareholder conference at the New York Hilton Hotel, Luigi, masked and waiting in the shadows, suddenly opened fire on 54th Street between 6th and 7th Avenues, a busy stretch of Midtown Manhattan.
Very.
Surveillance footage showed Luigi pulling out a 3D printed ghost gun with a suppressor and shooting Brian from behind.
Really?
Manually cycling through each round. We are going to get into this ghost gun momentarily.
3D printed.
So crazy.
Wow.
By the time the NYPD arrived, Brian, who sustained multiple gunshot wounds to his chest and leg, was dead. Before we analyze in detail the shocking crime, let's first better understand who Brian Thompson was and why and how he wound up becoming the intentional target of a lethal attack.
Did you say that he manually reloaded every bullet in the gun?
Yeah, you can see it in the surveillance footage.
Wow.
Yep. Brian Thompson was born on July 10th, 1974 in Ames, Iowa, the second of two sons to his mom, Pat, and his dad, Dennis, who was a grain elevator worker. Brian graduated as the class valedictorian from South Hamilton High School in Jewel Junction, north of Ames, in 1993. So he was also valedictorian.
So how old was he, you said?
He was born in 74.
So he's 50.
Yeah.
So when I heard about this, he looked young-ish, like he was like young.
He does look young.
For a CEO, but I still was like 50. Wow. It's not young. But then I heard you say 1974.
How old are you, Tank?
It's like, I don't want to think about that.
You want to talk about being plugged in, which is something we always talk about.
Yeah.
Do you know that this morning when I was blow drying my hair, I thought to myself, I can't believe how old I am. Like it hit me.
Yeah.
That I'm not 26, which is the age I am always in my head for whatever reason. I'm like frozen in time.
Yeah.
At 26. So weird though to hear you say something like, oh, 50's old. Oh, 50's not old.
No, it's not old at all. And it will be really young when I get there.
Exactly.
That's what I'll be saying about it.
Exactly. So Brian was valedictorian. He graduated in 93. He then attended the University of Iowa, where he earned a bachelor's degree in business administration with a major in accounting. At the University of Iowa, Brian became the valedictorian once again.
Wow.
And also met his future wife, Paulette, who's a physical therapist. Brian and Paulette went on to have two sons together, though at the time of Brian's death, they were living in separate residences, he and his wife, in Maple Grove, Minnesota. After graduating from the University of Iowa until about the year 2004, Brian went on to work at PricewaterhouseCoopers as a manager in the Transaction Advisory Services group of the audit practice. He then joined UnitedHealth Group in 2004 and became a key figure within the healthcare industry. In his nearly 20 years at UnitedHealthcare, which is a branch of UnitedHealth Group, Brian held various leadership positions, including chief financial officer for multiple divisions and director of corporate development.
Wow.
He was known for his focus on long-term patient health and his relatively modest public presence, despite his substantial wealth. As the eventual CEO of UnitedHealthcare, Brian was instrumental in leading the company's growth, for which he was handsomely compensated. In 2023, his annual salary was reported at $10.2 million. Along with bonus and stock options, his annual earnings made Brian Thompson one of the company's highest paid executives. Based in Maple Grove, Minnesota, Brian led the company's global operations, which impacted millions of Americans. At an investor meeting in 2023, he spoke about UnitedHealth's commitment to value-based care, an approach that emphasized keeping patients healthy rather than merely treating them when they fell ill. At the meeting, he stated, quote, "Healthcare should be easier for people. We are cognizant of the challenges, but navigating a future through value-based care unlocks a situation where the family doesn't have to make the decisions on their own."
Sure, dude.
Which,
yeah.
All due respect to the dead, that's a load of shit.
Load of shit.
Under his leadership, UnitedHealthcare generated $281 billion in revenue last year.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
No, apparently not.
It's not enough. I'm sorry. They deserve more money, the health companies. They really do. They deserve all of our money. We should be paying a premium. And then I don't even want to get a letter from them if I have some kind of procedure. I just want to pay it on my own.
Totally.
I pay healthcare companies, honestly, for the security of knowing that if something happens,
they'll do nothing.
No, they'll be there for me. But I don't want them there, which is why I refuse to take any kind of reimbursement from insurance companies. I pay double, triple, whatever it takes. I don't even ask for the cash price. I'll pay the insurance company price.
Damn.
Which is typically 15 to 16x what it needs to be. Fuck you.
It's insane.
I'll stuff it for now.
It's okay. Let it out, man. It's an infuriating crisis that we are in as Americans. It is.
And I don't think necessarily that government healthcare would be better from an execution standpoint and deployment of services, whatever. I do think some kind of intervention is necessary immediately and completely on the price gouging. It's
Agreed.
absolutely disgusting.
Agreed. Do you know that after my C-section, my first one, and we have health insurance, I owed $250,000, or so they claimed.
Really?
And it took my aunt sitting at my kitchen table for hours, running through receipts and premiums and what's it called? The minimum that you have to pay.
Deductible.
Deductible, thank you. And working it out. I mean, they were calling constantly that we owed this money. I'm still recovering from a C-section with a newborn with health insurance. And they were telling me because certain things that happened fell outside the parameters of what they were willing to cover because I had some complications.
Not my problem.
Not my fucking problem.
Figure it the fuck out $281 billion later.
Correct.
Honestly.
Correct.
It's not, I don't even know whose fault it is. Because everyone is trying to stay afloat, right? But if you're floating, if someone is gasping just above the surface of the water and they're staying afloat and you're floating 30,000 feet in the sky, maybe there's a problem there.
Yeah.
Maybe you're floating too high.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
Maybe you need to like come down a little bit and give everyone a break. But the doctors gouge because they have to, because the insurance companies have professional hagglers and negotiators that try and talk it down as much as possible. Like I had a mouthpiece for sleep apnea. It was covered by insurance, the first one. I told the guy, I said, hey, if this one gets eaten, because it will, by my dog, how much am I going to have to pay to replace it? So he goes, usually we bill the insurance company $6,000 for a plastic mouthpiece, by the way. It is molded to my fucking
you know
teeth,
what?
but-
So is the one I got off Amazon.
Yeah. So $6,000, and then he goes, but if you have to pay for it cash, if insurance won't cover that, then it's usually $1,500. I ultimately wound up having to go back and get one, $300.
Unreal.
So
what is it? Arbitrary numbers?
it's all made up.
Yeah.
Because they're just throwing out crazy numbers, hoping that, like, did you ever hear the story of the guy who made millions of dollars sending Meta bills that they just paid because they didn't even like check to see if it was for anything real?
Unreal. No, but I mean, I'm not surprised.
They're getting so many bills. You throw one in that's $15,000 for a dental exam, it might get paid. If they catch it, then they go, hey, this seems exorbitant. What did you do? Oh, sorry, I made a mistake on that one.
An error in our billing department.
Yeah.
Yep. So under Brian's leadership, UnitedHealthcare generated $281 billion in revenue last year, positioning it as the largest subsidiary of the Minnetonka, Minnesota-based United Health Group and securing the 8th spot among global companies in terms of revenue.
Wow.
And number 4 in the United States. In 2023, under his guidance, the company attracted over 1 million new clients.
Under his guidance?
Yeah.
Or under the fact that people just age out of their parents' health insurance, or
It's attributed to him and his leadership and his business acumen and whatever else you want to call it.
Okay. It's like taking fucking credit for people drinking water.
Well, no, but he was the CEO, so...
Listen, I had to use UnitedHealthcare because I don't get insurance to my work. It had nothing to do with Brian Johnson. Zero.
I know, but I'm saying that usually the people at the helm of these organizations get the credit.
But they don't deserve it, is what I'm saying.
Right, but that's anywhere you go.
I know.
That's what I'm saying. At the time of Brian's death, UnitedHealthcare stood as the largest health insurer in the United States.
By far, right?
This made Brian Thompson a highly influential figure. However, in many areas of the healthcare industry, influence does not necessarily equate to qualification, or at least it shouldn't, because Brian Thompson, alongside other non-medical professionals in the healthcare industry, spearheaded a deeply controversial policy at UnitedHealthcare, and that was to deny coverage for patients seeking immediate emergency room care if the insurer decided that the visit wasn't necessary. While aimed at cutting unnecessary healthcare costs, this policy places an unreasonable burden on patients and forces them to self-diagnose potentially life-threatening conditions.
Yeah.
To make matters worse, individuals deemed by the insurer not to need medical attention then go on to face steep financial penalties if they go on to seek help.
Yeah.
This approach is not just misguided, it's outright dangerous, putting countless innocent lives at unnecessary risk.
Yeah.
In response to that absolutely ludicrous decision, the president and CEO of the American Hospital Association, Richard J. Pollack, wrote an open letter directly to Brian Thompson, urging him to reverse the policy, sounding the alarm that it compromises the health, well-being, and safety of patients who are human beings.
Are they, though?
They are, Tank.
Aren't they just numbers on a balance sheet?
To many, I would say that's probably how they are.
Maybe they're a person to you.
They are.
If you know them, if it's your mother or something. But I, as the CEO, it's like it's 1 million new people I signed up this year. Like, I can't care about everything.
Higher bonus.
Yeah.
So Richard J. Pollack explained in his letter how patients are not medical experts and cannot, nor should not, self-diagnose during what they believe to be a medical emergency.
Neither are the insurers.
Correct. Financially penalizing people for seeking medical attention is abhorrent, and it should be criminal.
Yes. Is it not? I guess not.
No, that's the point.
Yeah.
Additionally, UnitedHealthcare Group has been accused of leveraging artificial intelligence to increasingly deny patient claims. Democrats on the U.S. Senate Permanent Subcommittee on Investors, or the PSI, released a report claiming UnitedHealthcare's prior authorization denial rate for post-acute care jumped from 10.9% in 2020 to 22.7% in 2022, with skilled nursing centers experiencing particularly steep growth. Denied claims in 2022 were 9 times higher than in 2019.
In 2024, they were 37%.
There you go. Yep.
And the average, do you have the industry average there?
No.
16%.
Damn, look at you.
Criminal. Like,
It's criminal.
actually, like, legit, one of the most impactful crimes. That is not a crime for some reason, because they're in the politicians' pockets, obviously. That is just permitted somehow.
Yep. UnitedHealthcare implemented AI models such as the machine-assisted prior authorization and HCE auto-authorization model to expedite claim reviews. That's how they were using the AI.
Yeah.
However, these systems also flagged more claims for denial by overriding treating physicians' recommendations. Critics allege this shift prioritized cost-cutting over patient care, with many denials steering patients toward less expensive home health services instead of post-acute care facilities.
You're kidding.
In November 2023, a class action lawsuit was filed against UnitedHealthcare and its subsidiary, NaviHealth, for systematically denying claims using flawed AI models.
Yeah.
The suit claimed the company knowingly used an algorithm with a 90% error rate, banking on patients' inability to appeal denials due to their impaired conditions, lack of knowledge, and limited resources.
Oh my God. They don't all have an aunt sitting at their table for hours going through bills.
Correct.
Really? No, I'm being dead serious. Like, not everyone has that. I don't have that.
I know. Stat News revealed that UnitedHealth pressured employees to use AI algorithms designed to predict patient stay lengths and cut off rehabilitation care for Medicare Advantage beneficiaries. UnitedHealthcare has denied these allegations, stating its practice aligns with Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services guidelines. Growing criticism, including claims of wrongful denials, have only continued to mount. Death by denials.
Yeah. Ooh. Is that from somewhere?
That's from me.
That's the name of the episode.
Oh, let me highlight that real quick.
That's what I think. Death, because I was trying to think of the phrase, like, what are they, passively killing people? No, it's death by denials.
Death by denials.
Wow.
In the months leading up to Brian Thompson's murder, friends and family of Luigi Mangione were kind of now getting back into the case here, had grown increasingly concerned as he seemed to have completely fallen off the grid. The last known contact came on April 27th in the form of a voicemail he left on a friend's phone. In a calm, contemplative tone, Luigi said, quote, "I want some time to zen out," before setting off for Japan and then Thailand on what he described as an introspective vacation, or, as he put it somewhere else, a chance to, quote, "do some Buddha." In July 2024, a friend posted on social media and tagged Luigi asking about his sudden disappearance. Quote, "You made commitments to me for my wedding, and if you can't honor them, I need to know," the post read.
Side note, I just, right now, sober for 22 years, haven't touched it in that long, listening to you, realized why they call weed, Buddha.
Because you zen out?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You didn't know that. I know nothing about anything, and I knew that.
I just thought it was like Buddha. I don't know. You want to smoke some Buddha? Yeah. Why are we calling it Buddha? I don't know. It's
gonna get real chill.
because you eat a lot and get fat.
Well, that too.
Wow. Welcome to the world of delayed onset intelligence.
You're never too old to learn something new, and you're not old, by the way.
No, I will be. 6 years.
Okay. According to local media reports, Luigi's concerned mother actually reported him missing on November 18th of this year to San Francisco authorities, telling them she had not heard from her son since July. By the way, I forgot it's 2025. So when I say this year, I actually meant last year,
Yes.
2024. I wrote this script last year, technically.
Oh, vintage.
That's right. The months-long gap in his communications has now become a key focus of investigators as they piece together the mystery of Luigi's movements during that time.
Mm-hmm.
New records, messages, and interviews reviewed by the New York Times reveal a more complete picture. And that was a young man grappling with debilitating medical issues and growing disillusionment with society. Luigi reported being in, quote, unbearable pain and frequently expressed alarm over the world's increasing reliance on smartphones and social media. During his trip to Asia, Luigi lashed out at the quote unquote modern Japanese urban environment, claiming that sex toys, automated restaurants, and a more general lack of natural human interaction were responsible for falling birth rates and a lack of human connection.
Which, sure, but I don't know. I've interactions at the cash register have never been like the focal point of my social battery recharge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't know if
I think he's just using that as an example that we're just disconnecting.
I know, but what I'm saying is that it's personal, obviously, for everybody, but I feel like some interactions don't need a human.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think many interactions do.
Yes.
And we're losing some of that.
Yeah.
But despite Luigi ghosting his friends and family, his social media presence painted a different picture than simply vanishing from the radar and neglecting personal relationships. It reflected a focus on self-improvement, healthy eating, and technology, mostly. However, those following the case will know that among his digital footprint were some very telling online book reviews on Goodreads, which is a user-generated book review site.
Mm-hmm.
In 2022, Luigi read 2 books about back pain, one of which was called Crooked, Outwitting the Back Pain Industry. He also wrote about the manifesto of Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, which painted a chilling picture of Luigi's mindset. The Unabomber, who was an American mathematical prodigy, Harvard graduate, and domestic terrorist, was responsible for a bombing campaign between the years 1978 and 1995 that killed 3 people and injured 23 others.
1978 and 1995?
Mm-hmm. Kaczynski's 35,000-word manifesto titled Industrial Society and Its Future, which condemned the evils of modern society and opposed all forms of technology, leftism, and capitalism, while advocating a nature-centered form of anarchism, resonated with Luigi, who
leftism and capitalism.
Yep. Who described the manifesto as prescient, meaning prophetic.
So just nothing, like just live in the woods.
Yeah, and he did that.
Kaczynski did.
Took himself into
or
a cab.
Luigi.
Kaczynski.
Which he's touting a nature-based anarchist world state, right? But obviously, like, he's not thinking about that, really.
Who are we talking about, Luigi?
Kaczynski.
Oh, Kaczynski.
Yeah, you want everyone to move in the woods? Guess what? It's going to be just like the fucking neighborhood you left.
I think that...
It's going to be, for if you want to do that for you, do it. But don't write a 35,000-page manifesto about how everyone should do it, because if everyone did it, you would hate that.
That's true. I look at it differently. I look at it as like symbolism. I don't know that he's suggesting that everybody actually go live in the woods. It's more like ditch the technology, connect more. It's the larger message. And he took it to the extreme by living in an isolated cabin in the woods. So Luigi framed Kaczynski's horrific murderous acts as acts of revolution. As part of his book reviews on Goodreads, Luigi also quoted what he described as interesting remarks from someone who had written about how companies have zero qualms about burning down the planet for a buck. So why should we have any qualms about burning them down to survive?
That I agree with the corporations burning down the planet for a buck.
The passage went on to say, quote, peaceful protest is outright ignored. Economic protest isn't possible in the current system. So how long until we recognize that violence against those who lead us to such destruction is justified as self-defense? It's powerful.
Yeah.
I don't condone violence, but it's a powerful sentiment.
Well, it's just more of the human condition. These companies are expanding because that's what people want. Mm-hmm. That's what the shareholders want. And that's what they want upstairs in corporate. So.
Perfect. That was perfect execution.
But these companies employ thousands of people who all need to feed their families, who need to grow and thrive in an environment that is safe, secure, and, cared for. They need homes. Like, what is the alternative? Nobody works. Everybody dies of starvation or chaos or being killed for what little resources we have on our own. What is the alternative? I don't know. There's never a solution.
Yeah.
Proposed. It's always just, here's the problem. Well, thanks for that.
Well, we've also lost our ability to have conversations.
No.
A little bit.
Why do you think we've lost the ability to have conversations?
I think
on the internet? Yes. But let's talk about real
Well,
people.
Yeah, so no, I don't mean that. I just mean like it's hard for everyday people to be heard, and they're shut down constantly.
Yeah.
There is no conversation. It's people in high places making all the decisions and people beneath them not being heard. That's what I mean.
Yeah, or people beneath them, even in the company, being scared that they're going to lose their job and then not be able to provide for their family.
Right. Well, that's what we said about the AI. Some of the employees at UnitedHealth said that they were forced to use the AI models and algorithms.
Everyone is just trying to stay alive and provide for their family. That is the number one goal of every human on this planet. And it takes different forms for different people.
Additionally, Luigi also made his viewpoints clear on the actual weapon used during Brian Thompson's murder. Because following the incident, police discovered bullet casings at the scene of the shooting marked with the words deny, defend, and depose, which is similar to the title of a 2010 book written by Jay Feinman titled Delay, Deny, Defend, which critiques the insurance industry. It's also a common description of the healthy insurance industry's tactics to avoid paying claims. 14 years after that book was written, Delay, Deny, Defend, it became an Amazon bestseller right after the shooting took place.
Really?
Because the truth is, in America, the healthcare system sucks.
It really does.
Let
me back up. I don't want to say the doctors suck or the systems suck. It's really the insurance companies.
That's a good distinction to make. And that's what I obviously meant. But I'm glad that you're right. It's not the healthcare system. It's not the staff. It's not the hospitals. It's not the human beings who are actually working. Exactly.
The insurance industry.
With in-network, out-of-pocket, PPO, HMO, gold and silver plans, and deductibles all thrown into the mix, it's clear that the American healthcare system, in terms of the insurance companies, is nothing more than a complicated, deceptive maze.
Yes.
In 2023, an estimated 26 million Americans, or 8% of the population, lacked health insurance. This is a significant portion of the population, but even those who have health insurance face significant barriers. High deductibles, limited coverage, and frequent claim denials often leave people struggling to afford necessary care. Despite being insured, many are forced to choose between paying for medical treatment and meeting other basic needs like housing or food. UnitedHealthcare, which insures nearly 30 million Americans, denied over 44.7 million claims for reasons like lack of pre-authorization, incorrect documentation, or services not medically necessary.
Yeah, So I said before that the government should intervene with this. I think the only thing that makes sense with health insurance companies is to make them non-profit. Like absolutely illegal to have a health insurance company, prisons, like these should not be profitized. You should not be able to make millions of dollars off the suffering and or death of other people.
You shouldn't make more money the more people suffer.
No, you shouldn't be incentivized.
Correct.
To let people suffer.
And that figure doesn't include the 45,000 people who also died because they couldn't afford health insurance.
45,000?
Uh-huh. Sadly, many people faced with fighting insurance companies simply give up.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Pop quiz.
All right.
How many denied insurance claims do Americans formally appeal each year under the Affordable Care Act, aka Obamacare?
Okay. Thanks a lot, Obama.
A, 0.1%, B, 10.9%, C, 27.3%.
And what was the question? What percentage?
How many denied insurance claims do Americans formally appeal each year?
So 0.9%.
0.1%.
0.1%.
10.9, 27.3.
10.9?
No.
0.1?
Mm-hmm. Yep. One study found that Americans file formal appeals on only 0.1% of claims denied by insurers under the Affordable Care Act.
Wow. You know what else I've heard? Is that if you ask for an itemized bill, they just kind of take like 90% off of it because they're embarrassed that they're charging you $1,200 for a Tylenol.
Oh my God.
So it's the military too. Military, the same thing. It's just the oversight is non-existent.
What do you mean the military?
Like there's, let's say something costs $40. The military will pay $600 for it because the company that owns the contract is in cahooty with the person making the decisions on the other side, getting inside information about how much they should bid, no bid contracts, meaning like you could charge whatever you want and they just have to pay it. It's the government. It's not like a person. Like if I, when I went to a house to give an estimate for a fence, in my mind, I had to be competitive because most likely they had other prices.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, charging somebody 10 times what they should be charged should be criminal. It should legitimately be illegal to do that, especially where people's lives are at stake.
Yes.
Like, why is it illegal to sell drugs where people die sometimes from it, but not illegal to deny people health care that they definitely die from?
Right. I don't know. I have no answer because it's so absurd. It just defies comprehension.
You know what it feels like? It feels like making a difference is so out of reach or unattainable because you're dealing with like, who would you even begin to ask to speak to about this?
This is what allegedly drove Luigi Mangione to do what he did.
Yeah.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. I'm not justifying it. I don't justify violence, but I'm, trying to understand. The United States is often celebrated as a symbol of progress, yet millions of its citizens struggle to secure life's most fundamental needs. Healthcare, what should be a basic human right, remains a privilege for so many. One illness, accident, or even not personal algorithmic denial from an insurance company can spell financial devastation.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, insurance CEOs amass millions. Their corporations laser focused on maximizing shareholder profits rather than delivering patient care.
It should be the opposite.
Yes.
The more people you help, the higher you get paid.
Of course. How about we use that to incentivize and pay out?
Oh my God.
In this environment, the simmering frustration within American society is more than understandable, which is why some feel that the assassination of Brian Thompson wasn't just an act of violence, but rather a symbol of collective discontent and, according to many, justified. Americans are weary of a system that reduces mothers, fathers, children with cancer to numbers in investment portfolios. They're fed up with CEOs who treat life-saving services like commodities to be traded.
Yeah.
And on that cold December day in New York City, in the cold clarity of the streets, some would say that justice caught up to one CEO. Following Brian Thompson's murder, many people, rejoiced with memes and jokes about how New Yorkers would never snitch on the killer when he was on the run, while others highlighted the irony of a healthcare CEO being denied life-saving care with comments like, when you play Monopoly but end up bankrupting the banker. Comedian Chris Rock also joked about the killing, saying, quote, "I have condolences for the healthcare CEO. I mean, this is a real person, but sometimes drug dealers get shot." What's unfolding now in the United States is a warning, a cautionary tale, if you will, of what happens when the relentless surge of inequality combines with the slow collapse of faith in institutions and cultivates societies where frustration festers and hopelessness takes root.
I made a good joke about Luigi Mangione. I'd like to say it here.
Here and now?
Yeah.
Sure.
So it was when they offered the reward for him.
Yeah.
It was like $25,000. I said the reward is now $25,000 for any information leading to the arrest of Luigi Mangione. It is $7,000 if you're out of network, though.
That's very good.
It did well. It did well. People liked it.
I missed that one. I didn't even see it. When governments elevate corporate greed over public good, they unwittingly fuel a smoldering discontent.
Unwittingly?
Or wittingly.
I mean, it not only does it seem coordinated, it seems
intentional,
fueled by the result. It's like, and I get it. I will say, to the dismay of some people who are listening, maybe, I understand why people do that. I would like to think I wouldn't do it. But if there's a company who's writing you a check for $500,000 a year to help you campaign to stay in your job, it's got to be very difficult to say, hey, thank you for the money, and I would actually like another $500,000 next year, but this rule you want, I can't allow it. I'm going to vote against it. We're not giving you money then. The bribery is like really, there's a lot of problems.
Yeah.
A lot of problems in this country. This is why I have my lanolin nipple cream. For when my lips get dry because I'm angry, I just put this on and I forget all of my problems.
No prescription needed.
No prescription necessary.
The signs are no longer subtle, and the repercussions are becoming increasingly impossible to overlook. The message is clear. Societies cannot thrive when profit is prioritized over people, and the cost of neglect is a crisis waiting to erupt. Okay, back to the case again. Luigi is understood to have arrived in New York days before the shooting on November 24th. He's seen on video getting off a bus at the Port Authority bus terminal at 42nd Street and 8th Avenue. That bus originated in Atlanta, but had around 6 or 7 stops on the way, and investigators are unsure where exactly Luigi got on. But after he arrived at the Port Authority, Luigi took a cab to the vicinity of the Hilton Hotel and remained there for around 30 minutes. Then, at around 11 p.m., he took a cab to a hostel on Amsterdam Avenue on Manhattan's Upper West Side, where he checked in. And staying at a hostel was very smart on his part, as he could pay cash and easily provided a fake ID under the fake name Mark Rosario.
I wonder if that's because I'm wondering, like, why is this guy cosplaying poverty? He's loaded. His family is loaded, but maybe to stay off the radar. Yeah, bus. I mean, you don't plane. You're registered.
Yep,
fully registered.
Even a hotel.
Yeah.
The entire time he was at the Upper West Side hostel, Luigi kept a medical mask on, except for when he briefly pulled it down to flash that $1 million smile we've all seen on the CCTV footage that leaked. Apparently, that footage came from the hostel, and the reason why Luigi pulled his mask down was because the woman working at the front desk asked to see his pretty smile.
Really? So that was at the hospital? I thought that was at a Starbucks.
Hostel, no.
That's what everyone was saying.
That's incorrect. It was at the hostel.
Oh. Interesting.
On Wednesday, December 4th, which was the day of the annual UnitedHealthcare investors meeting and the day of the shooting, at about 5:30 a.m., Luigi left the hostel, likely on bicycle. At 5:41 a.m., CCTV has him at 54th Street and 6th Avenue at the Hilton Midtown Hotel. He walked around, entered a Starbucks, and purchased 2 energy bars and a bottle of water. At 6:20 a.m., CCTV footage provided by the Stage Star Deli showed the masked gunman walking westward on West 55th Street between Avenue of the Americas and 7th Avenue. He was waiting, watching, stalking. Then at 6:44 a.m., Luigi calmly shot Brian Thompson from behind before then shooting his body more times. Brian Thompson died almost immediately and was officially declared dead 30 minutes later after the NYPD arrived. After allegedly shooting Brian Thompson in cold blood during early morning daylight, Luigi promptly fled the coop. He made his initial escape on an e-bike into Central Park and wound up on 85th Street and Columbus Avenue. By 7:04 a.m., Luigi was seen getting into a taxi heading northbound at 86th Street and Amsterdam Avenue. And CCTV footage from inside the cab shows Luigi there wearing a medical mask, looking directly at the camera as drones flew above him, searching for the man who unloaded a gun into the CEO of UnitedHealthcare.
Wow.
At 7:30 a.m., Luigi was seen in the vicinity of the George Washington Bridge near a Port Authority bus station. And it was clear by this point that Luigi Mangione was officially on the lam. Pop quiz. While Luigi was officially on the lam, what was happening simultaneously? A, the Grand Parade for Bagel Day in Brooklyn, celebrating New York's finest bagels. B, the Manhattan Mystery Scavenger Hunt, a citywide puzzle-solving adventure.
Okay.
C, the annual Rockefeller Center Christmas tree lighting ceremony.
Oh, my brain is melting. B?
Nope.
C?
Yep.
Rockefeller Christmas tree lighting.
Such a juxtaposition.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
An intense, multi-state, 5-day manhunt ensued, during which the NYPD discovered Luigi's discarded gray backpack in Central Park hidden near the Bethesda fountain.
Wow.
And in this backpack, the following items were recovered. 1, a Tommy Hilfiger jacket matching the one Luigi wore at the time of the shooting that was captured on CCTV. Following the shooting, Luigi then changed into a $225 Sherpa-lined Levi's hoodie. Meanwhile, Tommy Hilfiger and Levi's, per GQ magazine, are seeing a spike in sales of the items that Luigi appeared to be wearing.
Of course.
Yet the backpack
People are
brand,
sick.
Peak Design, has faced threats of a boycott because the owner apparently reached out to law enforcement after recognizing the brand being worn by the suspect that was shown on CCTV and then leaked out into the media. And the CEO of the company, Peter Daring, is now seen as a snitch by Luigi Mangione supporters/empathizers.
Shut up.
I know, it's a lot.
We're going to boycott your bag company. No, you're not, first of all. Second of all, if you had one, we already got you.
Yes.
And we're not really depending on any one group of people.
It's still bad press.
I don't know. Now I know what a Peak backpack is.
Yeah, that's true.
And I might see one and not grab it because I want to anti the boycott, but just because it's in my brain.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know, a year, 2 years from now, subconsciously, oh, Peak. What is Peak? Peak. Oh, looks like a good backpack.
Right.
I've always had North Face. Maybe it's time for a change.
The second item recovered was a stack of Monopoly money.
Mm.
Now, there are a few theories circulating as to what the meaning or symbolism is of the Monopoly money. One theory, which is pretty straightforward, suggests that the fake money was to make a statement that UnitedHealthcare is a ripoff that steals money from patients to pay its executives millions, and that it is itself a monopoly.
Wow.
In fact, at the end of 2024, the Justice Department, alongside 4 Democratic state attorneys general, filed an antitrust lawsuit to block UnitedHealth Group's $3.3 billion acquisition of Amedisys.
Amedisys, just like we did 2 seconds ago when we went over it.
It's a tricky one. Whatever, it's a major home health and hospice provider.
Yeah.
Regulators argued that the merger would harm patients, families, and healthcare workers by consolidating control over 30% of home health and hospice services in 8 states, threatening competition and quality care. In other words, the buy would give UnitedHealth access to sensitive information about its rivals and create near monopolistic.
Nice.
By the way, that actually marked the DOJ's second attempt to block a UnitedHealth acquisition following its unsuccessful challenge to the Change Healthcare merger in 2023. It's constantly more.
Yeah, it's not enough.
No.
Listen, the second they get everyone on this planet, they're going to be insuring people that live on different planets.
I believe it.
I'm sure. It's never enough until you say it is. That's when it's enough.
It's enough. I'm saying it.
No, I mean, that's why I'm glad. I mean, government overreach is also an issue, but I feel like this is not overreach. This is like necessary capping of growth, takeover, profit. Like, I don't know. I feel like if I owned that company, Amedisys, right? And it got denied, someone filed a lawsuit, I'd be like, fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get $3.3 billion for my company. Well, guess what? It's probably not owned by one person, but like Forgo the great for the few so that the good for the many can prevail.
Amen.
I just made that up, by the way.
Amen.
Really tumultuous stepping through that sentence. Wasn't sure if it was going to come out right.
Can you try it again? You think you could do it again?
No.
All right.
I don't even remember the first word.
That's what the rewind button is for.
Forgo the great for the few in lieu of the good for the many? I don't know.
It was so close.
Hey, whatever. What is that called? Utilitarianism. So utilitarianism is the greatest good for the greatest number of people.
Got it. So another theory in terms of the monopoly money is that it was intended to illustrate the evils of capitalism and that perhaps Luigi had originally intended to scatter the money around Brian Thompson's body, but he flew the coop.
Wow.
And the third theory that's dominating certain parts of the internet, which you actually sent to me a couple weeks back now, which is less straightforward and is being referred to as the 286 conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
It's bonkers. This theory suggests that Luigi may have been engaging in a twisted, real-life version of Monopoly, the classic economics-themed board game. At the core of this viral conspiracy is the number 286, which appears repeatedly throughout Luigi's case. Here we go.
Let's go.
Internet sleuths noticed that Luigi's X account had exactly 286 posts and featured the Pokemon Breloom, whose Pokédex number happens to be 286. The McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where Luigi was ultimately found and arrested, which we will talk about, is precisely 286 miles from the Manhattan crime scene near the Hilton Hotel.
Wow.
The Bible verse Proverbs 28:6 states, "Better is a poor man who walks in his integrity than a rich man who is crooked in his ways." In the world of healthcare billing, denial code 286 is used when an appeal is rejected for exceeding the allowed time limits, a chilling nod to the very industry Brian Thompson represented.
And the worst of the industry.
Yes. There's also speculation that Mangione's escape into Central Park might have symbolized Monopoly's free parking space, a spot that grants players a windfall when landed upon. So Mangione, in this theory, his temporary evasion of capture is sort of equated to winning the free parking lottery, suggesting that his moves were calculated and symbolic. So another layer to the whole monopoly theory is that if a player rolls doubles 3 times in a row, they are sent directly to jail. So according to this theory, Luigi orchestrated his capture.
Okay. Which makes sense because when you said that he was found in a McDonald's exactly 286 miles from the crime scene, I feel like he just went there and waited.
He was eating hash browns.
At the time.
No, I understand.
Who knows how many meals he had before that, just hanging out, waiting to be discovered.
Yeah, I do think it's strange how he was captured, which we're getting into right now, because he was ultimately arrested after this 5-day multi-state manhunt on December 9th, 2024. Exactly 286 miles away from the scene of the crime. And he was sitting at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, when a customer recognized him from surveillance photos and alerted an employee who called 911.
By the way, there were 30 kids at the gym today who looked like Luigi Mangione.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You're going to see him everywhere now.
Well, every young kid looks like that. Every male from the age of 17 to 25 or 6 has that look.
The fluffy hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. His exact whereabouts between the morning of the shooting and his arrest remain a mystery, right, over those days. Luigi was sitting in the rear of the McDonald's wearing a blue medical mask and looking at a laptop computer. When Altoona police officers confronted Luigi, they asked whether he'd recently been in New York City, at which point Luigi is said to have begun to physically shake. Needless to say, Luigi Mangione was cuffed and taken into custody at 9:15 a.m., where he was placed inside of a maximum security cell. Following his arrest, fingerprints gleaned from the scene of the crime in New York City, found on the water bottle and Kind bar wrapper that he bought at the Starbucks and discarded near the scene of the shooting, proved to be a match to Luigi Mangione.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Authorities also recovered a 262-word handwritten note that Luigi had on him at the time of his arrest, which appeared to take responsibility for the murder and which police say is tantamount to a confession.
Why wouldn't you make it 286?
Excellent question.
Big miss.
Excellent question. Described by officials as a manifesto, this is exactly what was written. And you're going to read it.
Are all manifestos bad, by the way? Is it always bad when it's a manifesto?
I guess it depends what you do afterwards.
True. Yeah.
Blue.
To the feds, I'll keep this short because I do respect what you do for our country. To save you a lengthy investigation, I state plainly that I wasn't working with anyone. This was fairly trivial. Some elementary social engineering, basic CAD, and a lot of patience. CAD is computer aided design. Lost in the tabs. I mean, don't have any idea where I am.
Oh, let me get you back.
Okay. Lost. For those of you who don't know, Investigator Slater has what is it? 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52. 286 tabs open.
How many are there open?
57.
Damn.
That is wild.
I know where everything is, too.
Yeah, I know you do. The spiral notebook, if present, has some straggling notes and to-do lists that illuminate the gist of it. My tech is pretty locked down because I work in engineering, so probably not much info there. I do apologize for any strife or traumas, but it had to be done. Frankly, these parasites simply had it coming. A reminder, the U.S. has the #1 most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet we rank roughly number 42 in life expectancy. True. United is the indecipherable largest company in the U.S. by market cap, behind only Apple, Google, and Walmart. It has grown and grown, but has our life expectancy? No, the reality is these indecipherable have simply gotten too powerful, and they continue to abuse our country for immense profit because the American public has allowed them to get away with it, because we don't know what to do. That wasn't in there. That's me. Obviously, the problem is more complex, but I do not have space, and frankly, I do not pretend to be the most qualified person to lay out the full argument. But many have illuminated the corruption and greed, e.g. Rosenthal, Moore, decades ago, and the problems simply remain. It is not an issue of awareness at this point, but clearly power games at play. Evidently, I am the first to face it with such brutal honesty. End.
Thank you, sir. Well done. In terms of the spiral notebook mentioned in the manifesto, that too contained disturbing passages, including one that decried corporate greed and condemned American life expectancy in contrast to the growing profits of companies like UnitedHealthcare. The notebook also described attending a conference and killing an executive. What do you do? Quote, you whack the CEO at the annual parasitic bean counter convention. It's targeted, precise, and doesn't risk innocence.
Did they have the investor meeting? Do you know after that?
No, they wound up canceling it.
Okay, so a little bit of decency.
So in addition to the notebook, fake IDs, one of which matched the fake New Jersey one he used to check into the hostel, a U.S. passport, $2,000 in foreign money, and $8,000 in U.S. cash discovered in Luigi's backpack.
And $40 million in Monopoly money.
At the time of his arrest, a black 3D printed pistol, aka the ghost gun, along with a 3D printed black silencer was discovered. 6 9mm full metal jacket rounds and 1 loose 9mm hollow point round were also discovered. These, of course, were consistent with the shell casings found at the crime scene. Ghost guns like this one can be assembled at home from parts without a serial number, making them difficult to near impossible to trace.
Yeah.
This pistol had a metal slide and plastic handle with a metal threaded barrel.
Oh, it had metal.
Yep. And lastly, there was one more item discovered. Pop quiz. What was it?
So they found foreign money, domestic money, 3D printed gun, bullets, full metal jacket. Sick name for a movie, just a great trio of words in general, and 1 loose hollow point bullet.
And a U.S. passport and some fake IDs.
Fake IDs. Mark Rosario.
Correct. What else did they find? A, fraudulent health insurance cards to 2 other major companies. B, an anti-tracking device. C, a book about hacking computer systems of major corporations.
A.
No.
A little too confident on that one. C.
No. He had a device called a Faraday bag that helped prevent police from tracing him.
Okay.
So you place your phone into this bag and it prevents the phone from transmitting a signal and becoming trackable. It's like wrapping your phone in tinfoil, basically.
Yeah. So I thought it wasn't that because they found the bag.
He had the bag on him.
Yeah.
This is what was found in his bag.
Oh, the bag that he was carrying at McDonald's.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about the other bag still.
No.
Sorry.
This was the bag they found on him.
Okay.
In Altoona. Now, the fact that he still had the gun on him raises questions.
Yeah.
Right? Like, why? Why keep the alleged murder weapon on your person while running from the law? I don't have an answer.
Yeah.
It's just, I thought about it.
Yeah, for sure.
Before the extradition hearing that Luigi attended in Pennsylvania following his arrest, extradition obviously meaning bringing him back to New York, cameras caught him struggling with police officers and shouting at reporters, quote, "That's completely out of touch and an insult to the intelligence of the American people." What he was referring to exactly remains unclear, at least to me.
Yeah.
While we may have a somewhat clear understanding of Luigi's motive for committing the crime, let's examine what led to his psychological unraveling, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
The gradual descent that took him from contemplating vigilante justice to actually pulling the trigger repeatedly and shooting another human being point blank.
Yeah.
Well, more and more it keeps coming out in terms of information. So far, we've learned that in college, Luigi began showing signs of mental health issues. His grades began to slip as he struggled more and more to focus, both in the classroom and out. A former roommate recalls that Luigi had become unable to conjure basic strategies when they'd play chess together, which was very uncharacteristic. Luigi wrote on social media that the symptoms of quote-unquote brain fog he'd been experiencing since high school were getting worse. What in the past had been minor disorientation, he wrote, was now upending his life. Luigi said, quote, "It's absolutely brutal to have such a life-halting issue, especially since the issue itself wears down the critical/logical thinking mind you'd usually use to tackle it.
Yep.
The people around you probably won't understand your symptoms. They certainly don't for me." Among those who struggled to understand his issues and ailments were his doctors, as all the tests that he'd taken in an effort to explain his symptoms kept coming back negative. So Luigi took it upon himself to investigate his declining health and delved into research on Lyme disease, because this is an illness that he contracted at the age of 13.
Oh.
Lyme disease can lead to persistent symptoms such as fatigue, brain fog,
Yep.
chronic pain, sleep disturbances, and tingling or numbness in various parts of the body. He also apparently consulted with others online about irritable bowel syndrome and visual snow, which is a neurological condition in which a person's vision is obscured by flickering dots.
Wow.
What he did not seem to investigate or seek treatment for was mental health issues. Now, I'm going to take it back for a minute here. After graduating from college, Luigi went on to work for several tech companies, including TrueCar, which is a California-based digital retailing website for new and used cars. Able to work remotely, Luigi moved in early 2022 to Honolulu, where he settled into a co-living space on the 40th floor of a high-rise near Waikiki, Hawaii, called Surf Break.
Nice.
But despite his promising career, Luigi was plagued by the effects of a rare back condition called spondylolisthesis.
No.
You try it. Hot shot. I highlighted it.
Spondylolisthesis. Spondylolisthesis.
Nah. Basically, this condition is where a vertebra or a spinal bone slips out of place onto the bone below it. It can occur anywhere in the spine, but is most common in the lower back. The pain was relentless for Luigi and only worsened after engaging in activities he loved, like surfing and hiking. The effects of the pain began to seep into every corner of his personal and professional life, making even basic movements excruciating. The prospect of romantic relationships felt out of reach as it hurt to sit, move, engage in daily tasks, or fuck. I was going to say it. I was going to say something nicer, but then I said it the complete opposite of nice.
That's what he said?
That's what I said.
That's what she said.
Or make love. Is that better?
Nah.
No. His leg muscles twitched uncontrollably, and he experienced tingling and numbness that extended to his groin, a constant reminder that his body was betraying him and that being intimate with a woman would be challenging.
And I mean, looking like that, the guy was probably trying to get it in quite often. He just legs twitching and
Oh my God.
groin going numb.
Probably didn't have to work too hard at it, honestly.
Work too hard at what?
Getting women.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
So you have all those options and you just can't do it.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
The suffering persisted for Luigi as he continued to consult with doctors and try a variety of non-invasive remedies, but nothing was helping. In early 2023, Luigi wound up quitting his job and withdrawing from humanity. He wound up leaving Hawaii to return to the East Coast for medical treatment in the form of back surgery.
In 2023, you said he did that? Okay.
And this is when things start to come together a little bit.
Yeah.
In fact, the background image on Luigi's X account revealed an X-ray of a spine with hardware in it. Following the procedure, Luigi reported on Reddit that it had been a success and that he was able to walk and sit just fine within days. He also began encouraging others to consider surgery and to push back against doctors who might be wary of surgical solutions. Luigi suggested at one point that people should consider telling their doctor that their back troubles were preventing them from working. We live in a capitalist society, he wrote. I found that the medical industry responds to these keywords far more urgently than you describing unbearable pain and how it's impacting the quality of your life.
Yeah.
But what remains unclear is how Luigi paid for healthcare at this point. In May, he turned 26, meaning that he was likely kicked off of his parents' health insurance plan, because that's how it works here in America. The Mangione family has not publicly discussed his insurance coverage and has declined requests for interviews, but a representative for UnitedHealthcare has indicated that Luigi never had health insurance through their company. Following his surgery, Luigi became increasingly elusive and essentially took himself off the grid until he reappeared, gun blazing, in front of the Hilton Midtown Hotel in New York City on December 4th, 2024. Now we're back at where we left off, which, like before I took you back. Which was Luigi's arrest at the McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. Following his arrest, Luigi was arraigned at the Blair County Courthouse, denied bail, and charged with the following 5 offenses: forgery, carrying a firearm without a license, tampering with identification, possessing instruments of a crime, and providing false identification to law enforcement. He also initially faced one charge in Manhattan, New York, for second-degree murder. Being charged in more than one state is interesting to me. Federalism in the United States allows each state to enforce its own criminal laws independently. So if an individual commits separate crimes in multiple states, each state has the right to indict and prosecute that person for violations of its own laws. Interestingly, Luigi waived a preliminary hearing on the Pennsylvania charges in exchange for the prosecutor giving him a 20-page investigative report from the Altoona Police Department. He then agreed to be extradited to Manhattan, New York, and on December 23rd, 2024, was arraigned in the New York Supreme Court, where he pleaded not guilty to the now 11 charges he was indicted on in New York.
So crazy how recently this happened.
Just happened.
I feel like it happened a year ago.
I know.
This case happened in 2024. It's 2025 now.
Oh.
Oh, man, that sucked.
That was so bad. It was good. It was lost on me.
Yeah. Sorry, everybody.
So he faces 11 charges in New York, 5 in Pennsylvania, and he also faces 4 federal charges, okay, bringing his total number of charges up to 20. All right, let's break down these charges. In Pennsylvania, he's still facing the 5 charges that I already went through. In New York, amongst other charges, his most serious ones include second-degree murder in furtherance of terrorism, another count of standard second-degree murder, several counts related to weapon possession, and the most serious of all, first-degree murder.
Yeah.
Now, the FBI defines domestic terrorism as violent crimes committed by a person or a group whose motivations are of a political, religious, social, racial, or environmental nature. This crime actually stems from a New York state law passed shortly after 9/11 that treats some offenses like murder as acts of terrorism depending on the person's intent.
Yeah. I mean, if you're murdering 3,000 people or one person, it's still terrorism.
Agreed. First-degree murder carries a maximum penalty of life in prison without parole. The maximum penalty for a second-degree murder conviction is life with parole. Now, the lesser offenses, which are the second-degree charges, were included because if for any reason the jury doesn't find first-degree murder, they can then convict on second-degree murder.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of his federal charges, federal prosecutors have charged Luigi with 4 counts. 2 counts of interstate stalking, 1 count of murder through use of a firearm to commit murder, which carries a maximum potential sentence of death.
Wait, say that one more time. Sorry.
That's okay. 1 count of murder through use of a firearm to commit murder. So it's premeditated murder.
Okay,
basically.
It's a crazy legalese way of saying it, though.
And 1 count of using a firearm silencer during a violent crime.
And what is internet stalking?
Interstate.
I know what that is.
I get.
What is interstate stalking?
So because I believe he wasn't in New York, but
Yeah.
he stalked Brian Thompson, who was in New York.
Oh.
He made his way through multiple states.
Okay, got it.
Federal prosecutors haven't said whether they're going to ask for the death penalty, but it could be on the table. That decision will rest with President Trump's pick for the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York if that person is confirmed by the Senate. Because Trump, unlike his predecessor, Joe Biden, is not against the death penalty. In terms of trial dates, prosecutors said the Pennsylvania state and federal cases will run on parallel tracks and that the New York charges will likely go to trial first. Despite his family's wealth and prestige in the Baltimore area, Luigi initially requested on a court form that a public defender represent him.
That's what he asked for?
However, since then, he's hired a high-powered New York defense attorney named Karen Friedman. Pop quiz.
Okay.
Which statement is true? A, Karen Friedman negotiated her fees in Bitcoin. B, Karen Friedman is married to Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo. C, Karen Friedman once beat a case using evidence found on a fortune cookie slip. D, all of the above.
B.
Correct. She is married to Diddy's attorney.
Which is interesting.
Isn't it just?
I said it would be interesting.
Karen Agnifilo, or Karen Friedman Agnifilo, has condemned the federal charges against her client, stating the following. The federal government's reported decision to pile on top of an already overcharged first-degree murder and state terror case is highly unusual and raises serious constitutional and statutory double jeopardy concern. We are ready to fight these charges in whatever court they are brought. However, the Supreme Court in 2019 upheld a longstanding constitutional rule that allows state and federal governments to prosecute someone for the same crime.
Okay.
A Give, Send, Go defense fund, like a GoFundMe,
Yeah.
it's called Give, Send, Go defense fund, has actually been established by an anonymous group calling itself the December 4th Legal Committee, which has raised so far over $200,000 to help cover Luigi's legal fees.
That's it?
So far.
What a bunch of broke bitches supporting this guy.
Damn.
Supporting him from afar, huh?
Thousands of anonymous donors across the country have contributed, many of whom left messages of support for someone they view as an American hero.
The reason I'm saying that is because when we did the Daniel Penny case, his fund raised $3 million.
Yeah, it did.
In no time.
It did.
So this guy with all that support.
I think they attracted different walks of life.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, they attracted. Listen, the internet is the internet. Real life is real life. There's tons of overlap, but they are different. And a lot of times people who support certain causes will only do so from the comfort of their couch as long as they don't have to do anything, which is an interesting choice of use of energy and time, in my opinion.
Other social media users have managed to donate to Luigi's jail commissary account, soliciting donations for snacks, sodas, and even an iPad.
Commissary stays pallid.
Apparently, he's sharing his commissary with the other inmates. Other crowdfunding sites, such as GoFundMe, have taken down campaigns soliciting donations for Mangione's defense. Similarly, e-commerce sites, including Amazon and Etsy, have removed merchandise from their websites that feature Luigi, including T-shirts and tote bags reading "Free Luigi" and the phrase "Deny, Defend, Depose."
Yeah, thanks.
Questions are swirling about the legal strategy that Luigi's legal team will employ. We already know that Karen Friedman Agnifilo voiced concerns to the judge that her client is being used as political fodder. She also maintains her concern about the, quote, highly choreographed perp walk that took place
Yes.
when Luigi was brought into New York City by helicopter.
That was insane.
I know. The scene was marked by a heavy presence of police officers and journalists, as well as New York City Mayor Eric Adams. The judge presiding over the case said he'll do what he can to guarantee a fair trial. Meanwhile, on the flip side, loads of supporters holding signs greeted Luigi outside the courthouse, chanting, "Free, free Luigi," and "Eat the rich." Their signs mostly read, "People over profits and health over wealth."
What does the judge mean he'll try to guarantee a fair trial? Just guarantee it or don't do it. Get another judge.
I don't think he means he wouldn't be able to preside over it fairly. I think he just means, how are you going to get a jury now that's going to be unaffected and unaware and uninfluenced? You know, I think his point is he's going to do his best to stick to the strategies that make trials as fair as they can be.
I think that doesn't matter, actually, now that we're talking about it, because people made snap judgments anyway as soon as they heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Even if the jury didn't know anything about this, they would do the same thing in the courtroom.
Yeah.
Independent of any kind of preconceived notion.
Agree. Street art, graffiti, and signs in support of Luigi Mangione have appeared on buildings, streets, highways, and other places. A billboard with the words "Free Luigi" was seen in Riverside County, California. Images and memes of Luigi depicted as a Roman Catholic saint have circulated online, and he has received hundreds of pieces of mail already. Many people on social media have straight up advocated for the continued killings of CEOs, with some even posting hit lists.
Which is, what is wrong with us? Really? Like what? I was...
Because this is the problem with what happened. The reasons behind, and I'm getting into that now because we're reaching the conclusion here.
Yeah.
The point that Luigi Mangione has made is phenomenal and long overdue and well received by public and policymakers alike, I believe. And it's that the healthcare system, the insurance companies, are corrupt.
Yes. But everyone knows that already.
People being in his corner, it's tricky because if you're promoting Luigi Mangione...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
right.
Wearing a T-shirt with him on it or fucking...
You can support what he stood for and stands for without supporting what he did.
Yeah.
And I think that's the distinction. Should Brian Thompson's death resulting from an act of deliberate violence, albeit driven by justifiable discontent, be a cause for celebration?
No.
Should we instead channel our grievances into empathy-driven action rather than destruction? Should a society that criticizes a lack of compassion in its institutions not uphold compassion for the individuals within it? We can, should, and must demand change, accountability, and justice. But we should really think twice about what it would mean to lose sight of our shared humanity, a humanity that is eroded when violence becomes the answer.
Yep.
In the end, if we fight a broken system by breaking each other, we become the very thing we seek to change.
And people do not have the awareness to be able to recognize that, which is sad because obviously, is that the end?
That is the end.
So good.
Yeah?
Yes.
Great. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to hear you say that.
I mean, let's do it again.
This was a long one.
Yeah.
And it's obviously ongoing. I'm sure this goes without saying, but to our listeners, obviously, depending on when you're hearing this, the case is ongoing. The investigation is ongoing. So I will keep everybody posted with updates as they break.
Yeah.
But this is where we are as of the date of this recording.
Yeah, I think we're probably on the same page if history is any indicator. If I had to choose, if there was no other alternative except to choose, I would land on the side of no. You shouldn't be able to kill CEOs of companies that you think are unfair, obviously. However, doing nothing does nothing.
Right.
Like,
I know. This is a tricky one.
Even doing something does nothing because it's like you can protest and write letters all you want. As long as that money's coming in, they're not changing shit.
Right.
you know?
Do you think this will change things?
No,
That's the thing.
I don't, actually. I think that if there were, listen, I mean, this is horrible to say, and I'm not saying I wish this happened, but if there was a series of these and executives, high executives from insurance companies were getting killed, then maybe. But one, they can brush off as a fluke.
Mm-hmm.
They can
I
go,
know they've heightened security, obviously, with other CEOs right now. Most of them have private security as well. And I think Brian Thompson did as well, but they were inside the hotel.
which makes me kind of angry because it's like, how about instead of hiring security, which is going to raise costs for insurance, you just don't fuck people.
Mhm. You don't do what warrants you needing a security guard.
Yeah, you shouldn't need a security guard if you're a CEO of a company. If you need a security guard and you're the CEO of a company, you're the CEO of a wrong company.
Yeah.
You're the CEO of the wrong company.
Teachers don't need security guards.
No, I don't
Right.
need a security
Right,
guard. I
exactly.
don't do anything wrong to people.
Right.
Maybe it's just a couple of industries. Obviously, like being a CEO of any company, I don't know, there are people out there who think nobody should be a CEO ever and nobody should make any money except for them,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, because they deserve money. But other people who are higher up than them don't deserve money. People, there's too many of us. Which is something I realized in New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't even blame people for being selfish because it's not something that can be undone, because even the most selfless person is still selfish. They still want to get where they're going and do what they want to do. There's just too many selves
Yes.
in New York,
Yeah. Everywhere. Everywhere.
all wanting to get everywhere. Remember the line from Interstellar when the father was like, 8 billion people on this planet, all of them wanting to have it all. Every last one of them wanted to have it all.
Yep.
Yeah, all of us. We all want it all.
Yep. So we'll see how the chips fall here. Take me out of this headspace. Do you have a tank's titty?
You bet I have a tank's titty. And it actually
Do
is
it.
kind of apropos,
You actually finally got to say apropos of something.
not of nothing. It's
Exactly.
apropos of this. So there's this sentiment, I think, that I see where people are, wholesale discardment of things that they don't like even 1% of. So this thing exists. I don't like 1% of it. It's all shit. It's trash. Get rid of it. Mainly in terms of our country, because some people will say America is irredeemable. It's not worth saving. It's not worth fixing. It's not worth anything. There are other people who say America doesn't need fixing at all. Everything's perfect from where I stand, from my standpoint. But I believe that if you love something, an act of love is wanting to fix it and make it better. It's not an act of the opposite of saying like, this is not good enough for me. It's saying, I see you, I love you, I accept you as you are. However, I do think things could be better if we just...
Or I don't accept you. I still love you. I don't accept you as you are. This is what would be better.
You can accept someone as they are and not love everything about them.
Yeah,
That's a choice that you make.
Yeah, but... Okay.
Approve, because acceptance doesn't mean approval.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, but you can say like if somebody said to me, I heard somebody say years ago, if this is as good as it gets your whole life, if this is as good as it gets, would that be okay with you? And this was a long time ago. And I was like, yeah, I'd be okay with that. But it got better since then because I worked at it. So not only do I think it's okay to want to change something you love, I think love is the only way anything ever changes anyway. Because like we said, like, is shooting this guy in the head going to make anything happen? No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not the way things are done. Things are done by a collective agreement, a collective consciousness aligning with a specific thing, and everyone kind of at some point going, you know what? I think it's time to do this thing differently now. It's never one person. Unfortunately, Brian Thompson was also turned into somewhat of a martyr for profit. Like he was the patron saint of profit, maybe. I don't know how you'd say that, but like his life was taken and his life was sacrificed because someone had a point to make.
Yeah.
And there are just better ways to have more authentic, genuine, deep, long-lasting effect than just discarding something wholesale and saying, there's something I don't like about this, so I don't like the whole thing.
Right.
That goes for people too.
Right. Does that work with the expression that I love that I always tell you about? If you get a flat tire, do you get out of your car and slash the other three?
Yeah.
No.
No, that's crazy.
Right.
Or just burn the car.
Right, exactly.
However, I do agree with the meme that if you find a 4-foot wide spider in your house, you set the house on fire.
Obviously.
Yes, I get that.
And you move to a different country.
Maybe a different planet.
Yep.
Because the chances of you living in Australia are pretty good. So you should get out of there if you don't like spiders, because those spiders are gigantic.
They're huge.
They're not spiders. They're dogs with 8 legs.
Demogorgons.
Ah.
Okay. Anyway.
So yeah, wrap it up. Just because you want to change something, that doesn't mean you love it. As a matter of fact, I believe love is the only thing that actually really changes things.
Great. I love it.
Yeah. So, you're still here, aren't you?
Thank you. If you are still here, listening, watching,
you're a real one.
You are.
You're
indeed.
a real one. Thank you for doing all that work. And thank you for bringing all the facts to me in a storyline that was not only easy to listen to, but informative and engaging.
Thank
as
you.
always.
That was very kind to say. Thank you so much.
It's the truth.
Thank you.
Please accept it.
I'm working on it. 2025
Just accept
resolution.
it. Don't work on it. There's no more working on it. Take it in.
Thank you. I accept that.
You're the best.
Thank you. I'm going to cry.
Now I'm on a mission to see if I can make it. Cry. You're so good at this. The amount of effort you put in and the sacrifices you make regarding time with your family and self-care and all that stuff to bring these people these podcast episodes. Are you going to cry?
Maybe. Are you doing that on purpose?
Yeah, I wanted
working.
to see if I can make it happen.
It's happening.
See if you have a soul.
I do indeed. It's black, but it's there.
Yeah. Oh God. The Jay-Z intro.
Oh my goodness. I re-listened to it.
Yeah, you went a little hard on me there.
It was all from the heart. Like, it was not intended to
make me cry.
It was intended to make you feel.
Yeah. Well, I felt my eyes getting wet.
They are right now. Anyway, thank you. Thank you for being my number one fan. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode, and we will see you on the next one.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.